Hi everyone. This is example number 2 from the supplemental topic involving discrete random variables from our student packet. It says Mary is deciding whether to book the cheaper flight home from college after her final exams, but she's unsure when her last exam will be. She thinks there is only a 20% chance that the exam will be scheduled after the last day she can get a seat on the cheaper flight. If it is and she has to cancel the flight, she will lose $250. If she can take the cheaper flight, she will save $100. So first, talking about discrete random variables. Discrete means that there are a countable number of options to the variable. So in this case, she's either going to keep the flight and save $100, or she's going to have to cancel the flight and lose $250. So in part A, it says create a valid probability table representing this scenario. So she, like I said, is either going to keep the flight or she's going to have to cancel the flight. If she can keep the flight, she will save $100. She'll gain $100. But if she has to cancel the flight, she will lose $250. Notice I put a negative sign there. The probability that she'll have to cancel the flight is 20% or 0.20, which means that the probability that she'll be able to keep the flight is 80% or 0.80. So I want to talk about why this is a valid probability table. It's a valid probability table for two reasons. First, our probabilities will add up to 1. And then second, each probability is between 0 and 1. So in part B, it's asking us to find the expected value, and in part C, it's asking us to find the standard deviation. I'm going to do both of these by hand, and then I'm going to explain how to use your calculator to find them. So first, for part B, it says find the expected value and interpret it in the context of the problem. So the expected value is a weighted average that takes into consideration the probability of each event. So the expected value is a model, so we use mu to represent the mean. And we take each outcome and multiply it by its probability. And when you have them lined up in the table, it makes it very nice. When you do this calculation, you'll get 30, which means that on average, Mary will be able to save $30. That sounds kind of weird because the only thing that can actually happen is that she either saves $100 or she loses $250. She's never actually going to gain $30. However, if she were to do this scenario over and over and over and over and over again, her average would be 30. So, on average, Mary will gain $30, and that's if she books that cheaper flight. Now for the standard deviation. The standard deviation is going to calculate the spread for this scenario. So we will take each outcome, subtract it from the mean, square it, and multiply it by its probability. And we're going to add these together. And when you do this, you will get $140. Now the standard deviation measures the risk because it measures how the spread of this scenario. So in this case, $140 is a pretty big spread, which means there's a pretty high risk to making this decision. So I'd like to talk now about how to do this on your calculator. And I know that this is going to be difficult because I don't have an emulator on my iPad. But it's actually not too bad because you've done something similar to this before. I rarely make these calculations by hand because putting this in the calculator goes so much faster. So you'll want to put your outcomes, into L1 and your probabilities into L2. So go to Stat, and then Edit. So it'll already be on Edit. Hit Enter, and then you're going to put your outcomes into L1. So in L1 I have 100 and then negative 250. And then put your probabilities into L2. And then you can go ahead and exit out of that or quit. For the expected value and the standard deviation, these are variables, these are statistics. So we can use the command one variable stats to find them. And you did this in Unit 1 to find statistics. But remember that this is a weighted average, so we have to make sure that that's included in there. So you're going to go back to Stat, and this time you're going to arrow over to Calc. So Stat, Calc, and then you're going to choose 1 var stats. For your list, you're going to put L1, and for the frequency list, this is the difference between what you did in Unit 1, you're going to include L2. And then you're going to hit Calculate. Now, if you do not have a TI-84 and you're not prompted for the list and the frequency list, then after one variable statistics, you're going to see this 1 var stats and a parenthesis. Do L1, comma L2 and close your parentheses. And what you'll see is your output, the expected value is going to be under X bar. Now, we don't write X bar because this is not a sample statistic. This is coming from a model, so we use mu. But in your calculator, you can see that 30 is with the X bar. The standard deviation is from mu, and it is the 140. But you should be able to see those values in your calculator now.